Hi, everybody, and welcome back to On the Roof. Today we have a guest that I've been waiting to get on here for quite a while, and finally we're going to be able to talk to Erik Aude, and we'll discuss his amazing life and the documentary that he's got out actually right now. It's called 3 Years in Pakistan. So, welcome, Erik.
Hey, man, how you doing? Thank you for having me on.
That's my pleasure. So what brought about, what motivated you to do this documentary about a story that's kind of been told, but I don't think ever from your point of view? Is that what it was?
For the longest time, Locked Up Abroad kept approaching me, and I kept refusing to do their show for the longest time. And, I thought there was going to be a movie deal, a book deal, and I didn't really like how the other episodes of Locked Up Abroad were being done. They had sent me a bunch of episodes that they had already taped before they approached me, and they told me to watch and decide if I wanted to be on the show. And I watched all these episodes, and all I saw were people who were knowing drug smugglers, people who were criminals that were locked up in other countries, and I didn't feel like I just belonged in that group, because these were people who had committed the crimes and that had knowingly done the acts. And I said, why am I in this? Why would I want to do this show? And they're like, well, because these are your people. I'm like, these are not my people. These are people who are criminals and knew what they were doing. I was not guilty whatsoever. I wasn't involved, and I didn't want to be tied into that. And then years had gone by, and every year they kept contacting me, asking me if I wanted to be on the show. And I said, no, I don't want to be on your fucking show. Because I had two reasons why. Because I thought their shows, I thought it catered mostly to criminals, and also it wasn't long enough. Well, come 2010, they saw that I was acting again, and that I had done a show called The Event. And I, did a lot of action on there and played a guest star on that episode. And they said, hey, we saw that, you act and that you're actually okay. What if we let you play yourself? And I was like, they were catering to my ego. And I thought, what better asshole to play this asshole than this asshole? That's why I decided to do the show. But the problem with doing it, though, is that they had just they had me fly to London and do a 13-hour rushed interview, and they crammed it into 48 minutes. And you can't tell a story about someone's life in 48 minutes.
No way. Not that story.
Well, I think anyone's story. If you can cram your whole life story in 48 minutes, I don't think you've really lived. And it's not doing anyone justice that way.
Right.
Unfortunately, the show Locked Up Abroad is very popular. It's been especially my episode. My episode was viewed over 800 million times, according to the people at Raw Entertainment, and it's worldwide. It's in every language. They're constantly airing it, rerunning it, and I get messages from all over the world. They're positive, but they're also negative. I get a lot of negative messages. I get a lot of death threats, a lot of harassments, and it's because people are filling up the blanks on their own. The common sense is not at all common. So when people hear drugs and prison, they start to fill up the gaps on their own. And people really are they're pretty awful. They want to believe that I was raped every day, that I knew what I was doing, that I deserved to be there in that bad situation. Or even if they do believe that I was innocent, but they don't care because they hate America. The world is not a fan of Americans whatsoever.
No, right. Oh, no doubt about that.
And this being right after 9/11, it's easy for people to say, well, how didn't you know? And, how are you so stupid? And I'm thinking to myself, wow, man, what if your best friend, your best fucking friend, or even a family member screwed you over? And how did you, it happens all the time.
It happens all the time. But you know what's unique about you is how you are with that now. I would think that would harden you to a point where almost make you antisocial.
No, I'm very social. I meet people all the time. I love to make people laugh. I love to talk and hear people's stories and share my stories with them. But it has hardened me up in a sense to where I don't let people get close. I really don't. And you can't let people get close because for some reason, I'm a magnet for assholes. I'm a magnet for bad people. And if you're nice to people, they will, you want to give people the benefit of the doubt, but people use that as a door or window to get in to try to get you to do something for them, to try to.
There's predators out there. Yeah, people looking to exploit, man. It's
everywhere.
Right.
Thanks to social media. I mean, this is before social media, but thanks to social media, it's made it way easier for people to try to get to me. Like, hey, man, I got an opportunity for you. It's legit. I'm like, shut up. I'm not interested. All right. Oh, well, why not? Well, because I've been screwed over too many times. Well, I would never do that. You're right. You wouldn't, because I'm not going to let you. and then like, I'm in the poker world, so I get people asking me for money all the fucking time. People I don't know, but people who, like, back in the day, I was in the newspapers all the time because of football. So all the local high schools would read about the players from each different school and who was doing what. Well, all these guys think that because they knew me from the newspapers, they knew me back then. And they have no problem, like, asking for money, like tens of thousands of dollars. Hey, can I borrow $10,000? I'll pay you back. I don't even know who the fuck you are. Why would I?
And there's certain things like that type of story. I mean, there was all kinds of athletes that go from the ghetto to, overnight success as far as financially.
No, the second that people see that you're doing good in whatever aspect of your life, if you're doing something good, everyone comes out of the woodworks with a sad story. Everyone says, "Oh, I promise." It's pretty shameless. Like, if I'm homeless, I'm homeless. I'm not going to go begging money for anyone. But the problem, I'm not antisocial, but I have to harden up, and it's because my best friend put me in jail in Pakistan. And since I've been back, people, my own family, my own friends have screwed me over for money. They put my name in credit cards. Everyone wants you to invest in something that's a scheme. You got to really watch who you let into your inner circle.
Well, I think it's remarkable that you're not antisocial. I wasn't saying that I thought you were by any chance. I mean, to see that you're out there active and doing your thing and constantly, in the mix, I find that amazing, because I could see, a resentment or something building in there, something to stop you from not doing that. But you took the opposite path, and I think it's brilliant.
Oh, I appreciate that. Yeah, no, I do my charities. I do a lot of charities, and that's where I do all my donations and everything. I don't give it to people in general, but I'll give to organizations or good causes, like small grassroots charities. Also, I get asked a lot to go and speak at, like, schools and to people who are down on their luck and whatnot. And a part of me at first, when I started getting asked to talk to people, it was kind of like, why would they want to listen to me? But then I started realizing that people were seeing the positives in it, and what they were needing was knowing how I was able to get through my bad days. And by sharing my mistakes, my past experiences, the bad things that have happened to me, and letting them know what I did to get through just those small, terrible moments, it helps them realize that, hey, if this guy can do it, then why can't I? It's that simple. It really is. It is. If you think it's been a bad day, you see someone like me, and you realize, well, maybe it wasn't that bad after all.
I thought of so many things to talk to you about, and I don't know how much time you have. I don't want to be completely bogart you, but there's just so much. I think a lot of your story, like Billy Hayes, for example, I'm sure you often compared, the stories, just because they both involve similar things in the area, Pakistan and Turkey. And he found yoga. Yeah, you were fighting fucking people up, man. It's a different approach.
Well, it's funny you say Billy Hayes, because Billy Hayes is a good buddy of mine.
He's a good dude, right?
See him a very good dude. I always see him in Vegas. I saw him last month in Vegas and the month before. We get dinner and we play poker together.
Oh, that's nice.
He's just a good dude. When he comes to LA, we grab lunch and whatnot. But it's funny. He says, like, when I went to jail, people liked America. He goes, when you went to jail, no one liked America. And he says, like, it's funny because he does all these speaking engagements and everything. Yeah. And he's done pretty well for himself because of what happened to him. He goes, I was guilty, and it turned out to be the best thing for me. He goes, you were innocent, and you keep getting fucked. I'm like,
I don't mean to laugh, but that's irony, man, right? Isn't that something?
It's the way it works. Like, I truly believe, people are like, you don't believe in good luck or bad luck. I'm like, yeah, I absolutely do. I think I've got some of the worst luck out there, but I've been able to outplay my luck so many times in life that the shit that happens to me just doesn't happen to other people.
Outkick your coverage, man.
Yeah. It's the greatest thing about it, though, is that all the bad stuff that happens to me, I'm just like, it's Tuesday.
Well, I mean, so where is your bar set now? Like, when you think about, like, experiencing what you experienced there in Pakistan, right? Which is brilliantly portrayed in the piece, by the way. You know, really, I mean, there's no way to not understand the magnitude of what you went through on a daily basis, right? So when you come out here and somebody cuts you off in traffic, or, you know, all the things, the everyday mundane things that happen, which would piss people off or get upset, are you able to go back to that and go, you know, I'm happy to be here? You did talk at the end of the piece about, you know, just being able to go into a warm house from a cold night, and you get real gratitude for simple things that we take for granted. But does that stay fresh? Do you keep the bar there, or that's impossible, isn't it?
No, it definitely helps me. It definitely helps me. You know, whenever I'm having a bad day, I just remind myself, shit, it could always be worse. You know, when people cut, like I said, I'm a magnet for bad people. People pull guns on me and want to fight me. I ride a motorcycle.
You got to get a plastic car then, or something, so the magnet can't get you.
Well, yeah, but when I am in a car, oh my God, everyone thinks they're 7 feet tall and they all want to road rage against me. I've had so many cops called on me by the bully, the guy who went out of the way to road rage against me, and then it's because I'm not a victim at all. I'm not a victim at all.
That's for sure.
And I feel really bad for the people who do fuck with me, because for me, it's
for how long?
Christmas. I was in Vienna. I was in Vienna here for New Year's Eve. And this guy, I'm not proud of this, but it's kind of funny. So I buy a coffee inside from this coffee shop, and then outside of it, they have these seats that have heaters near them, even blankets on the seats. So I go and buy coffee inside. I go out and I find a chair next to a heater, and I put a blanket on, and I'm just people watching. And then this guy comes over and starts staring at me, and I said, "Can I help you?" He's speaking to me in Austrian. I said, "I don't know what you're saying." He goes, "You can't sit here." I'm like, "Sure I can." He goes, "You have to buy something." I go, "I did. I bought coffee inside." He goes, "You have to buy from me." And I was like, Jesus Christ, what do I got to buy from you? He says, "You have to buy from me." Yeah, I get it. What can I buy from you? So I give him 10 euros and tell him to go away and fuck off, right? So he goes away and gets someone who's like his brother or something. I don't even know. And these guys start both yelling at me in Austrian. I'm like, "I paid you for the service. I paid you to stay here." They're like, "You can't stay out here right here." And I'm like, "I bought your fucking coffee." So the guy tells me I have to move, and I'm like, I don't have to do anything.
It's on now, right?
And then he put his hand on my shoulder. I didn't hit him. I hit his brother, right? And I sat down there and started drinking coffee. The second he put his hand on my shoulder, I figured it was on. I sat down and put my hand on the coffee, and I'm like, whatever, dude. And these guys, I don't think you should be able to touch someone or anything, especially me. I don't know.
Yeah, well,
I probably handle things a lot worse than I should, but
yeah. Well, I mean, I think that's how people learn how to make better decisions. Unfortunately,
I don't put my hands on.
You're a
people
teacher. You're a teacher, Eric.
I don't know. I just don't think I'm an easy target. When it comes to people like talking shit and road raging and like, "Oh, the worst thing happened today. Traffic is so bad or gas is so high," I just laugh, because you guys, these are first world problems.
But let me ask you something. How do you, I mean, do you get to a point where it's just not worth having to knock somebody out over that? Or is this how you're made? And if somebody crosses that line, it's on, that's what's going down, and it's point blank.
I mean, yeah, unfortunately, I'm shocked I'm not back in jail. I just don't.
It's good to be young too,
I'm
man.
One way. I'm only built one way. My one way is like,
shit.
If you're talking shit to me, I'm going to try to use sense of humor to diffuse it. I'm pretty good at diffusing shit, but when it comes to like bark or bite, my bite's worse than my bark.
Yeah.
I wish I was able to be a little bit more calm sometimes, but I never get angry to where I can't control myself. But it's sort of like, man, fuck you. I'm not gonna. Whereas everyone else is like, you can have a gun, you can do this. I don't even think that far ahead.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
I'm like, if he's got a gun, he better shoot me. Otherwise, he's gonna piss me off and make it a lot worse for himself. That's how I think.
Yeah, and I also think too that a lot of times, like, we're conditioned to, society teaches us that this is the appropriate way to act. You're going to act the way you're going to act, and that's what that's going to be.
Well, the funny thing about it is we live in a society where criminals actually can. I'll give you a small example. It's not something I was. This is a few years back. I was dating this little Asian girl from Chino Hills, and when she would drive out from Chino Hills, she would bring her little. She had a coupe, a little mini coupe. Now, when she would drive to town, though, she didn't want to drive because she didn't know the location. So I would drive her little mini coupe, and I'm just like cramped in this little small car around town. Well, I had to go pay my bookie at the Starbucks, and when I was pulling into the Starbucks parking lot, I had to stop because people were crossing the sidewalk, and this guy slams on his horn. He was just having a bad day, decided to take it out on me, and keeps his hand on the horn. And I look in the rearview mirror, and the Mini Coopes have really big mirrors, and I see this guy just going off on me in the mirror, and I'm not mad. All I did was go, like, that's life.
Yeah.
I'm slowly driving in this parking lot, and I hear this horn just going off, and I'm looking to my left, and this guy's in the truck yelling at me. He's just going off on me, and I can't hear him because their window's down. But I'm looking for the button to push to put the window down. But Mini Coopes, I learned later, have all the buttons on the middle console.
Right.
So I don't know this. So I open the door to hear what this guy says. He goes, "Get out of the car! I'll fucking kill you!" Right? And the little girl the little Asian chick I'm dating, she was such a sweetheart. She goes, "Eric, no, let's not do this." And I'm like, "I gotta pay my bookie." So I get out of the car and I walk around this guy's car, and he puts his fingers on my face. And so I snapped his fingers, right? I didn't hit him, but he put his fingers right in my face, and I snapped both his fingers. Now this guy goes from screaming, begging, "I'm going to kill you," to
crying like a bitch. Yeah.
Calls the cops on me. I'm in the patio at the Starbucks waiting for my bookie to show up. My bookie finally shows up. And we're talking sports. The girl that I'm with, she's like shocked. She's never seen this before, and I feel really bad for her. I'm like.
How long did that relationship last?
Oh well. Unfortunately, so when the cops come up, this little cop comes over. He's like, "Over here," and I'm like, "Am I arrested?" He goes, "No, I just want to talk to you." I'm like, "Well, anything you want to talk to me about over there, or over there, you can talk to me about right here." And so he comes over and stands really close to me. And I'm sitting down with this guy's got his like crotch in my face. And he says, what happened to that guy over there? And I said, "I don't know. I'd ask his family," right? Now, the problem with what happened, though, was that because I was in that girl's car, they still had to fill out a report. And she was living with her parents at the time. She was a young 23-year-old. And when her parents read the report, they made her stop dating him. Like, they're making these – if I'd known that was going to happen, I would have pulled that dude out of the car and Reginald Denny'd him. I would have beat him in the Starbucks parking lot, taught him molesting. I guarantee you he's not talking shit to anyone on the –
Yeah, right. But let's get into your story really quick here, man, because it's fascinating, and the thing that gets me is you're easygoing, like you're nonchalant about some real shit. I mean, it's wild. You can't make it up, and yet a lot of people dispute. There were people that disputed your story.
If I wasn't me, I wouldn't believe it either. That's how I look at it.
That's true. That's a good point.
If it wasn't, I mean, there's all kinds of stuff you hear, and I don't believe everything I hear right away. I think outside the box. Like I always root for the bad guy. That's just the way I am.
Yeah.
But the things that have happened to me in my life have never. I never had an easy life. I wasn't growing up with a silver spoon in my mouth. I didn't grow up in a loving home. I grew up youngest of 6 boys. Yet I grew up alone because all my older brothers grew up with their dads. I had what I thought was the norm, which was having to work for your own food, and like I didn't get dinner, breakfast, or lunch. I had to work at the cafeteria to be able to eat in the afternoons. I had to buy my own food. My stepdad would make me dinner sometimes, but it was always pork chops and steak. And I mean, that's great. Nowadays, I love it. But back when you're a kid, you're like, pork chops again. My mom never cooked for me. I never had money. And she never bought me anything, so I had to go work in the neighborhood, mowing lawns, washing cars, doing gardening work, just to have a few bucks so I can buy clothes, so I can pay for my braces, so I can pay for my headshots, so I can, do stuff, go to the movies, simple little things. And I would go over to other kids' houses and see like loving families and the way that they treat each other. And I thought, wow, this is nice. It's got to be really good. But that wasn't the way I grew up. I grew up hardened, and I grew up having to fend for myself and take care of myself. And it was a love I had for. It was weird because when you grow up in the Antelope Valley, you can easily just feel sorry for yourself, and you can just grow up to become a meth head, which seems to be the normal thing out there, and commit suicide, which also happens a lot out there. But I knew I wanted to be a stuntman. I wanted to be a comedian. I wanted to be in the entertainment industry. I wanted to do something more important than working at a fast food restaurant. I wanted to be somebody, and I worked hard for it. I studied my ass off because the biggest fuck you to the teachers was acing all their tests. I worked out harder in the gym because I wanted to just be the guy on the football field.
Which you were too, right? I mean,
I was
great
great.
football career.
There was no one on the field. Like when I walked on the field, you knew when I was out there and where I was.
And you had no desire to pursue football?
I did, but I went to such a small school that the only thing I was getting were partial scholarships. The only thing I was getting were scholarships or partial scholarships or interest from very small colleges, Division III colleges,
Yeah,
and I
yeah,
thought I
yeah.
was better than that. I wanted Division I colleges. I wanted to play for UCLA or USC, and I
Yep.
thought I was good enough to play for those fucking schools. Unfortunately, I went to small schools, and I was just it wasn't fair for me to play in those leagues because I was meant to play in bigger leagues.
Yeah, yeah.
So I didn't get the interest I wanted, and I decided, screw it. I'm just going to do what I love doing, and that's do acting and do stunts. And I started pursuing that. I started making waves in the Hollywood industry. I was going into the rooms I sat in the same room in front of with Ashton Kutcher and this other dude going up for Kelso on the '70s show. It came down to me, Sean William Scott, and like two other guys for Steve Stifler on American Pie. It came down to me and Josh Hartnett for Virgin Suicides for Sofia Coppola, and I was getting small co-stars and reoccurring roles, but I was right.
You were right there for making it, man. That one.
I was so close because I was in the right rooms, and I was constantly going back to the same casting directors and seeing the same producers again and again. So they knew me, they respected me. And that's where, when unfortunately you don't work all the time as an actor, and that's how my friend Ray Gazarian, who was able to lure me into this to this amazing job, which was traveling around the world, importing expensive leather samples, getting paid for it, getting a free vacation out of it, getting a few bucks out of it, and we were all really being used to smuggle narcotics. I was an easy target because I was.
But when you were set up in the fact that the first few times that you were sent over there to do that, that was just to show you that this is legit before they actually loaded the bag.
I'm pretty 100% confident that without knowing it, I was smuggling drugs those first few occasions as well.
Even when that dog sniffed your bag and they let you through, was it Sweden?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that I got pulled out because the dog was doing a good job that day, and yet there was so many other people that got pulled out that the dogs can pull you out for whatever reason.
Wow.
Because the dog wasn't going crazy, the dog was just like a little bit longer with the nose sniffing. And then when I told them what I was doing, I was like, look, I'm here to pick up the leather jackets. They focused all their attention on the leather. So they went through everything on the leather-wise, pocket-wise, scanned it all and whatnot, and they found nothing. But I wish I had found out in Sweden. God, I wish I found out in Sweden because I think their prisons are a little safer, a little cleaner. I would have rather found out sooner than later. I'm glad I found out, obviously. And it happens all the time. Drug smugglers are shameless. People in general are shameless. If they can scam you, do whatever.
That's true, man.
They'll scam you just to get money out of you.
Listen, Wall Street's the same game with suits and ties.
There's so many scams out there, and I just happen to find one of the millions of different scams out there. And people think, well, this doesn't happen because people are good. No, people are not good. People are bad.
Yeah, people aren't good. That's right. But there's also alchemy that took place for you to get out. That Bill Richardson and people, your mom meeting the fucking president of Turkey's brother. The son of right? Pakistan. I'm sorry.
There was a lot of people. There was a lot of
things fell into place for you, man, in a sense as well.
A little bit. Richardson was trying to help me out and whatnot. My mom was trying to help me out, but her being involved was hurting me a lot more than it was helping me, though. And even though in the documentary it shows that she was helping me, I had to end up becoming a lawyer in Pakistan on my own and using the hijackers lawyer to get myself out of jail. And unfortunately, the reason for that was because every lawyer that knew that my mom or someone else was involved, they didn't want to deal with me. They wanted to deal only with them. And by doing that, they were like trying to get money out of her, promising her everything. But they kept saying, oh, we got more expenses, which was bullshit. It was just Pakistanis using the situation to make money off of me. No one saw a human being. They saw, a way to get rich or a way to make money. So I ended up having to get myself out of jail with using all the lower court's points. Bill Richardson, he tried. These people talk, but he tried. But Pakistan didn't care. I still had to go through the legal system. I still had to argue the lower court's points. I still had to be able to have a simple fighting chance. And I think by Richardson putting his name out there and being involved, it let the higher court judges know that, hey, people are watching. We're not going to get money off this guy. Let's just do the case, and let's see what he has to say. Let's just argue the case as if we were honest judges. That's what I think happened, and that worked because the judges could have been dicking me around too forever, just wanting money. But when in the higher court, there were two judges, instead of one. And when there's two judges, that's to keep them each on check. Like, these guys will screw each other over in Pakistan to try to get promotions. Like, if they see one judge doing a bad job, they'll rat him out and be like, hey, see, I ratted that judge out. I should get a promotion because I'm a good guy. And that's how you move up in the ranks. Yet everyone's corrupt as hell. If they're by themselves, they'll absolutely take money. They'll absolutely do what they can for you if you pay them.
There is that dark, seedy side in every society. Do you still believe, like, and hope that there is, contrary to that, like the good, that is what prevails? Like, or is that a bullshit story?
No, man. I think I got lucky. I think I got really lucky as far as like I could have, I got very unlucky, but I also got lucky that the two judges that seemed to be working that day, they thought it was hilarious that the lawyer that my mom had hired had wanted $25,000, and I also worked my ass off because I was learning the language, I was learning their legal system, and so I was able to describe exactly what was happening to me, to also argue all the points of the lower court to where they could see that obviously there's a good chance this kid is actually innocent. So I was working my ass off. I got lucky in this. A few things happened. I mean, I got lucky that these judges had a sense of humor. That's for sure, because they were laughing their ass off when the other lawyer was like, I can charge whatever I want. And they're like, what's the most you've ever, and I asked the question. I said, what's the most you've ever charged anyone? And because they swear on the Quran, they're actually really honest in the courtroom. And the guy says,
they're honest about their deception.
Yeah, the guy said 60,000 rupees, which at the time was $1,000. And I go, what was the case for that? And it was a murder case. So the judges were laughing. Like, one of the judges was doing this in his hands, just laughing. I mean, and here I am in a bad situation when I could see the sense of humor in it. But it was funny. It's funny now. It really wasn't funny then.
Yeah.
And the judge's exact words were, "Were you trying to have your grandkids retire off this guy?" And the guy's like, "I can charge whatever I want." They're like, "No."
So you were representing yourself?
I was representing myself with the help of the hijacker pushing my papers, because I still was the only one who could describe exactly what was happening to me. So I needed this other guy to push papers across to get me there. I said, just get me there in front of the judges so that I can talk to them. And then by doing this, the judges gave me a second chance at high court, which is something they had not done for anyone else, according to like the hijackers and everyone else at the prison. So I got really lucky that I was given two chances at the high court.
I'm thinking of that from a different point of view. I'm not there, obviously. But when I'm thinking an American getting a chance that their own people didn't get, the hijackers, that's not normal. Even though they're hijackers and you're innocent, you're American and they're Pakistani.
They were 100% guilty. But their exact words are like, I've never heard of anyone getting two chances at high court. So I was very lucky in that sense.
As an American, even more lucky, right?
That's probably because I was an American that they, kind of bent the rules a bit.
You think so?
Yeah, maybe. But also they knew that I didn't give that asshole lawyer permission to withdraw my appeal. He did that because he was trying to extort money out of my mother, which is what was hurting me, because whenever people were dealing with my mom, they were trying to get money. And I fired this lawyer telling him, hey, man, I'm not going to pay you $25,000. I'm going to find other legal representation. All he had to do was not show up to court. But he did. And he did the one thing that he thought would hurt me, because he's a piece of shit. That's what they do. They're fucking assholes over there. The people will fuck you over any way they can. That's just how it is. And he withdrew my appeal, cost me my one chance in high court. And it took me almost 7 months to finally get another chance at the high court to prove that guy was extorting money out of my family, and that he did this to simply hurt me. That's all he did. He did it to hurt me. So the judges believed that, and they gave me a second chance at high court.
But you still had to wait almost a year and a half for that.
I had to wait a year and 4 months to get seen again in high court.
Right. So, and then you're in these conditions. I mean, I just, again, I'm getting hepatitis from watching the video. You know what I'm saying? I'm looking at these conditions. I'm going, wow, what the fuck? I mean, that was nasty. And I'm sure they couldn't have done justice to what it really was. And to even think that you're going to have, okay, you got what you wanted, but now you still got another, year and 4 months. And I guess if you've done like stretches of time, maybe that doesn't sound like a lot, but a week is too much for some people, right?
Oh yeah, a couple hours is too much for some people. But for me, I was built for jail. I just, this is the way it is. I've had a terrible life. I've been run over by a bus. I was in a wheelchair for 2 years. I've been in and out of hospitals and courtrooms since I was a kid because my mom was always going to court to get more money out of my dad. And I've only known a terrible fucking life, and I always known how to make ends meet on my own, which was working odd jobs, buying mistletoe for the holidays, cutting it up, going door to door and selling them for $2 each, telling everyone that, oh, it's for my school, but it was just for me. And I had to figure out how to make things work ever since. The only thing that sucked is I got thrown in a situation where no one spoke English. I had to figure out the language, and once I figured out the language, I was able to start communicating. And then when the guards realized, look, they're not going to get money out of me anymore, and that it's not worth fighting me for money they're not going to get anymore, they started working for me. And once it started working for me, everything changed. I mean, communication was my greatest weapon in jail. Being able to understand these people so I can talk to them. And I can, trust me, hey, I will pay you I'll pay you money, but I want something in return, earn it, and that's the key to everything in jail is money. That's the key. And I was making a living in jail by getting cell phones smuggled in, selling them to the other prisoners, getting VCDs smuggled in, getting food smuggled in. And once all the guards started working for me, life was great for me in jail. I had a great time. I loved prison. It was fun for me.
But I mean, you're the exception. I mean, let's say, obviously you got a really good IQ too. I mean, to be able to, learn Pakistani and then learn legalese in another language when you're in jail. It's not like you're going to fucking Pakistan University. If
you can read and write, you can be a lawyer in Pakistan. There's no magic to it. They are not smart people. I'm telling you the truth. Pakistanis will be like, hey, he's insulting us, but it's true. No, it's true. They are not smart people. When Inside Edition came and interviewed me, and this little guy who was like this tall up to me, he goes, hey, how's prison treating you? I'm like, oh, it's great. It reminds me of summer camp where they beat you for no reason and the food sucks. No, it's exactly like summer camp, actually. And they said, what do you think of the legal system here? I said, it might just be my own opinion, but I think that if someone is going to be making a life-changing decision for someone else, they should at least have a third-grade education. And they aired it on Inside Edition. And the embassy was not happy with me, obviously. But I wish I had done things a little differently, but I never had a filter. I always said my mind, and I stand true to this day. I did not meet one Pakistan. There's one dude I met who I was like, this dude's fucking intelligent. He's pretty good. And that was the future prime minister of Pakistan who was in jail with me, a guy named Raza Jalani. That dude had my respect, actually. He was like the only Pakistani that had my respect.
Why? Why? Why did he do that?
Intelligent. He was intelligent. He didn't. He carried himself with a nice, he had class. He wasn't arrogant. He had class. And the dude, while he was in jail with me, something sad happened to him. His mom died while he was in jail. And this is his exact words. Like, I knew he was hurting. So, we had a sweet dish and everyone was coming and shaking his hands and, paying their respects to him. And he just looked off in the distance and he looks at me and he goes, this is life. This is life. And he took it like a man. And I thought that was pretty respectful, But as far as everyone else in jail, there was no one was like super intelligent, unfortunately. They're not that intelligent. So it wasn't hard for me to adjust to it. It was like, honestly, if you can handle kids at a daycare, you can handle Pakistanis in a prison. And that's kind of mean to say, but it's true. It's not that. It's like it's no one's. If you can read and write, you are so far ahead of the game, and you're considered very intelligent if you can read and write over there because there's so many illiterates in the jail.
Yeah.
And so I learned how to read their own language. I was learning how to write their own language. I was teaching them how to read and write their own language. It gave me things to do, but it also earned me a lot of respect because I was able to help others help themselves.
Yeah. You know what I think, too? I think that, there's a bigger picture, whether we in our lifetimes can actually see that. I know. I believe there's a bigger picture. I can't see it. But just you put one foot in front of the other, you live your life the best way you know how. Had things been different, had your childhood been a little more structured and more ideal, of the norm per se, right? Maybe you become successful in a different field and your drive is not going to be the same, right? And you're not going to touch the amount of people that you're touching right now with this story. And not just the story, it's the story's got so much more to be told. Every day you live, there's more to your story. That phenomenon doesn't happen without all these ingredients being exactly what they are.
No, Oh, no, you're absolutely right. Had I had a great childhood, I know for a fact if I didn't have the childhood I had, I wouldn't have been able to survive jail. I wouldn't have been the cocky, arrogant asshole who, if I was an only child, I wouldn't have grown up wanting to impress my older brothers, constantly fighting my older brothers and the older kids. And, I'd be scared of getting hit. I'd be scared of my own shadow, I think. I grew up with such a hard living and being told I can't do anything. And the bus accident made me hard as hell. I mean, you can't hurt me worse than I've ever been hurt. And then when I was able to walk again and I play football and be stronger than everyone, it was, it all added up. And when I went to jail, I was, when people are like, go to jail, they're like, oh, I'm going to get raped the first day. My thought was, no, I'm in these assholes are in jail with me. That's not an option.
That was great the way in the show too, when the doors opened, you were like, the lion coming into the den. It was, it was depicted really well too, but that was a good approach.
I was just telling myself this is opening kickoff. When I played football, I was the wedge buster. That's the craziest asshole on the football field.
Yeah.
Your job is to punch their biggest guy in the face and let them know that you exist. And that's what I did. I went out on there. It was like I hopped the fence at a junior high school and just went to war on the playground. That's how I felt.
Yeah. When you talk about friendship and the betrayal from that guy, I can't pronounce the name, so forgive me. But the guy who set you up, right? That was it's such a fucking betrayal, right? But when you were in there, the one guy who became your best friend there, who they later hung, but he shared his last meal with you, and it was your choice on what you guys ate and stuff, and that was such an honor. You even got choked up when you talked about it. That's an experience that you're not going to get any other way. Like, it was nice to see your depiction of that. I'm not going to get that story any other way. Like, if you don't live that. That's a real unique perspective that you have on friendship from, if it wasn't for this scumbag, you don't get to meet this friend.
Meeting Murad was, because of Murad today, I'm successful. My life wouldn't be what it is today, that's for sure.
Yeah. But how much credit do you take for that?
Credit in what sense do you mean?
For the person you are right now.
Oh, God. The person I am right now, I don't know. I think I was raised by the TV, raised by books I read. I used to read a lot of. I was always grounded, so I had nothing but time on my hands to read. I read Stephen King and Dean Koontz books all the time, and that sense of humor, that sarcasm, really. I remember my 5th grade book report was it, and I got in trouble because of how graphic it was. But when I would go and watch TV and I watched this, the smart ass, the 80s sense of humor was crazy. I watched Raw Entertainment. I watched all these 80s rom-coms, National Lampoons, which wasn't in the 70s, but all the police academies. And I love that sense of humor. I don't know. It sort of really impacted the way I think and everything. I think the more offensive, the better. That's just the way it is. And I also felt, though, that pain's temporary, pride's forever. And yes, this is going to hurt, but it's going to be a hell of a story later. And you're going to be laughing it off for the rest of your life. So enjoy it. Like, my mom used to spank me with the belt. I'd give her money and be like, hey, there's more where that came from, just to piss her off more because it was funny. It was funny. It was sad, pathetic, but it was funny. Like, my older brother's friends would laugh their asses off at the shit that I would say right before I got belted. Like, my mom would be like, I'm going to hit you with this belt. I'm like, because you're a fucking bitch, and I'm at 5 years old,
Yeah. Yeah,
that's just how I was. I grew up as smart ass. I grew up tough, and you have to. And the bus accident made me deal with pain. Being told I'd never walk again. When I got back, all the kids would make fun of me. They'd call me Pancake Boy because I got run over by a bus, and my mouth would get me in more fights than anything. And I get beat up, and it wasn't until like 8th grade I started winning fights because I was getting bigger. And eventually that's what you do. It's what kids do. That's what I did. I got in fights all the time because it was fun. And sometimes I'd fight guys who just wanted to fight. Like, we weren't even mad at each other. Hey, you want to fight? Sure. Let's go fight.
Yeah, right. That's what I mean about the nonchalant. I find it funny. The game changer for you, the bus accident, that was the game changer, right?
Well, yeah, because, if it wasn't for the bus accident, I would have gone with my brothers and lived with my dad also. I would have left my house. My mom was crazy. Like, people are like, your mom's not crazy. I'm like, no. Man, my mom was bad, and I know she's in the documentary, and she's, showing how much she tried. She tried, but her being involved hurt me a lot more. And then also growing up with her, it was not easy. It was really bad, and it made me have no choice but to have thick skin. Like, if if you pound on your knuckles on the wall, it hurts for a little bit. But then if you just keep doing it, you get used to it, and you start to build, toughness in your body wherever you get hurt. The bus, let me know that no one could hurt me any more than I've ever been hurt, because all I have known is pain. And it forced me to stay with my mom, because I had to keep going back and forth to all the surgeries and all the doctor's appointments. I mean, had that not happened, I would have gone and lived with my dad.
And you're good. You're physically intact from all of the stuff you've been through.
Well, I mean, I'm a stuntman nowadays, so I'm always fucked up somehow. But I mean, I walk. I can walk. I can urinate. I can have sex. Those are three things.
That's all you need, really.
That's all you need. But those are three things I was told I'd never be allowed to do. I'm the first person on earth that had their urethra severed, reconnected. I've had over 50 surgeries. But my body hurts. My body hurts. There's always something wrong with me, but I go to the gym, I work through it, or I just man up and take it and just get through it.
Yeah.
And I don't take pain medication. I don't take any aspirin or anything else, because honestly, that stuff just numbs it for a minute, but it doesn't help it.
Do you pay attention to nutrition and what you take in and how you eat?
Oh yeah, I'm all like I order these vegan meals from a company.
Are you vegan?
I'm not vegan, but I eat a lot of vegan.
Right. Okay.
I just got back from overseas. I was in Central Europe, and when I'm on vacation, I eat everything. I don't care. But when I get back, I get these vegan meals that come to my house, and I get 4 vegan meals a day, and for 1,600 calories, and everything's healthy, everything's non-dairy, non-meat, and I lost a lot of weight. It helps keep me in shape by just eating right, and trying to hold what's the inevitable clock of time from taking over.
Yeah. No, and this is what we're all fighting. That's a fight that everybody has, no matter what the deal is. And it's a matter of being smart and seeing that and not getting caught in these patterns.
Everything is sugar. It's so bad for you. And then I don't know if you know, but I got diagnosed with cancer back in July. A very rare form of cancer too. Like I said, my luck is shitty. But I got a 1 in 12 million cancer, and it was in my appendix. They took my appendix out, and I was given by one doctor 6 months to live. So they said January 10th was my due date, which is next week. So
it's a good thing. It's a good thing I called today.
Yeah. I wish.
Now you're good with that, though, right?
No. Yeah, I mean, I changed my diet immediately because of that. I started eating only vegan. I left that hospital, went over to Cedars. Cedars started sending my stuff over to MD Anderson, and they did a CT scan here last month. They said, whatever I'm doing, it's working, because they found balls in my kidneys and my lung, and they said, whatever I'm doing is working. Obviously, everyone that I've spoken to that has survived cancer, they all said the same thing. They said it's what you eat. It's diet, cutting all sugar out.
That's right.
All meats out. All processed foods, all dairies, and so that it made it a lot easier. That's why I started immediately ordering Paletta, and by having all my meals cooked for me, it helps me from straying and eating sugar and crap, and because that's what fuels cancer is sugar.
Yes.
And so I've been eating a lot healthier, not because I want to be healthy regardless, but no, it's because I want to live more than anything, and that's why I'm eating healthy. It's really.
Do you do alkaline water as well?
I do alkaline water. Everyone keeps saying you have to do that. I got these little cheat sheet books where you can't eat certain fruits with each other. I didn't even know you can't even eat a banana and a pineapple together within a half an hour, because they have some kind of weird chemistry concoction. The foods we eat somehow it all matters what we put in our bodies.
Right.
And I'm no expert on it, but I'm learning as much as I can,
yeah.
And I'm hoping that I'll be here a long time. I tell everyone that if you see me on the news treating my last week like the movie Crank, then you should worry, because I've got a list of people I'd like to visit before I die. That's for sure. But me posting the stuff about what was happening to me with my kidneys, with my appendix, according to some nurse friends of mine, has helped save other lives, because what I described, what was happening to me, was happening to certain, a friend of mine, her name's Christina. She's a nurse up in Santa Clarita. She says she was able to catch 2 different very rare forms of appendix cancer because of what she learned from me. And that they rushed them to the emergency room. They got rid of they took their appendix out right away, and it most likely saved their lives, because this thing I had was so rare that by the time they find it, you're already dead. And the reason why I had what happened to me, the reason I took it serious is because I had a distant cousin, who was also my godfather, who also had the exact same thing happen to him. But they only found out what happened to him in the autopsy. He was dead before they knew what was happening to him. And it was because of what happened to him that I took listening to my body a little bit more serious. Like, I've got broken bones. I've got 2 busted kneecaps. My ankles are always jacked up. My shoulders always messed up. But right down in your lower abdomen on your right side, if that thing starts to ever feel uncomfortable, not painful, just uncomfortable, immediately go get it checked out. That's your appendix. Your appendix, most of the time is going to be fine, but it can kill you too if you don't listen.
Wow.
It's a 1 in 12 million, but hey, if it can happen to me, I guess hopefully it doesn't happen to you, but it could, I guess.
Listen, I had this conversation the other day with somebody. It's like, the why me? Hey, why not me? It's, you're the type of person, if something happens to, you're going to give it the light it needs.
Some people like to focus on someone hurt my feelings today, or, fuck off with that shit. Come on, we grew up in an era where sticks and stones were supposed to break your brother, not words. Words don't hurt you. Your own imagination hurts you. Everyone treats life
ultra sensitive. Yeah, man.
They treat it like a race, and it's not a race. It's only with themselves.
Right.
Someone's like, "Oh, I'm not where I'm supposed to be right now." You're living. Be happy. You can walk and talk. You've got your arms and legs.
Yeah.
You got a roof over your head. And they don't realize how good they have it, because America, especially in America is full of a bunch of whiny people who are entitled, spoiled, and they have no idea how good they have it. If they have a roof over their head, some food in their belly, and they're not worried about where their next meal is going to come from, then they live in the top 8% of the world. And they don't even know that. I used to be that way. I used to be mad that I was only getting the reoccurrence or the small guest stars. I wasn't happy that I wasn't getting the leads or the lead supportings. I was never happy. But even if I had gotten those, I would have found something else to be unhappy about.
I lived out in L.A. for a while too, about 7 years back in the 90s. And one guy, Mike Margleys, was a literary agent. I knew him from the gym. And he goes, "Yeah, everybody thinks I'm an overnight success. They don't realize it took 30 years for that night." Last night I went to see, this movie, The Green Book?
Yeah, I loved it.
My friend Brian wrote the movie.
Oh, that's awesome. He did a great job.
What a movie. I went last night, I got chills. It was so beautifully done, Great. But this guy's been at it forever. We worked the door together at clubs. I mean, it was just funniest guy. It couldn't happen to a better guy, man. This guy's... But again, even now, it's what have you done lately? Like, so you gotta parlay Hollywood. America is shameless. Hollywood is shameless
about bad.
To the nth degree on steroids, right?
Yeah, been in this business now for 27 years, and I consider myself one of the biggest failures in Hollywood, and I'm still happy to be in it. I'd rather fail at doing this than fail at doing something I hate.
But you have perspective, and if you have perspective, you can play that game as long as you don't lose your perspective. Do you agree?
No. Absolutely. I hear all the time from people like, "Oh, I'm going to give this 5 to 8 years." I'm like, then you might as well stop now.
Yeah,
you're already putting a cap on your success, man. I wear a lot of hats in this business. I write, I produce, I do acting, I stunt coordinate, I do stunts, I play poker to make ends meet. I make bad investments. You got to do a bunch of things. It's not always going to be highs. There's going to be lows with it, and that's called living, and I'm happy to be just doing what I love, which is what I'm doing. I mean, I'm going to go. I just got back from Europe here a couple of days ago. I'm going to go to Hawaii next week because I can. I turned down a part in a movie because I already booked my Hawaii vacation. I was like, I can't do it. I'm doing a Hawaii vacation. Like, well, you can't just push it.
It's a rough problem to have, huh?
Yeah. I don't care.
Listen, I don't want to hold you up too long, man, but I got a couple of quick things I just wanted to go over about the movie, man. That guy Goldleaf. Yeah. I mean, what was his deal? I mean, he just seemed like a vicious... He seemed just like the guy that was kind of like in Midnight Express, like that guy that got that fucking thing in the back of his head. Like a real scumbag.
Goldleaf was just a piece of shit old man. The guy was like 115 pounds soaking wet.
But he really killed all those people that they said?
He didn't kill them himself. He was in charge of prisoners and other guards, and he would have them beat because he was always in charge. He was the chief checker. and he kept getting demoted, but then he was there since the prison had opened since '86. And according to the hijackers and several other prisoners, he was single-handedly responsible for the death of hundreds of prisoners in that prison since that prison had opened. I watched him beat a man until unconsciousness, and then watched him urinate on the man, and then I heard that the guy died later on. So I saw it with my own eyes what this man was capable of, and he was just a vicious, vicious asshole. Like, this guy had the other guards would beat you and then stop, They had hearts still. They still were human beings, but Volgoli was not a fucking human being. That guy was the worst man I've ever seen, man. Like, he was just terrible, and he was just this little, like, he had a little man syndrome with all this power, and he just abused the shit out of it.
Yeah, that's fucked up, man. What did they do to your ears when you said you were getting those earaches and you actually had suicidal thoughts? Because, again, that's crossing that line with you, because one thing you are is a survivor, so suicide does not come into the equation. And you said the pain was that great, right?
My ears were so, like, I get earaches to this day, constantly. My ear canals are so weak. I've gone to ENT.
What did they do to you, though, to make that, cause that?
Well, during the first monsoon season, when I was in jail, so in 2002, July and August is monsoon season. The cells would fill up with water, and you'd sleep in the water, and the cockroaches and all the elements would come out there, and it was always just humid and muggy. It was literally like going to the 24-hour fitness sauna and sitting in that fucking thing all day long. It sucked. And fungus started getting into my ears, and bacteria was constantly getting into my ears. And I was always like, you take a Q-tip and try to fuck with it. That makes it way worse, because now you're putting more shit into your ears. The embassy doctors, who were also Pakistani, the doctors the embassy claimed they used were Pakistani doctors. And they brought these little machines that they would turn on with these small plastic tubes and put them in my ears. And by doing that, they were putting these tubes all the way down my neck to pull out all the fungus out of my ears. And they popped both my eardrums in doing so. These guys are fucking quacks. I've never heard this shit being done. And all the doctors I've spoken to since are like, they should never have done that. And so my head on the side of my head would swell out like I'd gotten stung and was having an allergic reaction. But it was because my eardrums were popped, and everything inside was just, you can feel your heartbeat. And it would just hurt so bad, and it was my ears. It felt like I had bugs inside my fucking ears, and even though I didn't have bugs, it was just so much fucking pain on the sides of my head.
And that pain plays games on your mind too, right?
Nah, I don't know if it was playing games. I was just like, I just felt like I can't even suffer in peace, I can't, like, stay in a room by myself. Like, that's a luxury, being in a room by yourself and at least not being in pain, whereas I've got nonstop pain that I can't even scratch. I can't get to, and it got so bad that I was like, I can't sleep. I was so exhausted, I couldn't sleep. I would only sleep from exhaustion, and for only how long? Because my ears would just constantly wake me up again, and I would go days and days and days like this. So the point where I'm like, I can't handle this anymore. If I fucking want to die, I want to fucking die. I need to die. This is humane. That was in so much pain. I wanted to kill myself simply because it was nonstop. And I had to set little goals of 5 minutes, and I would just getting through the next 5 minutes was my goal. And those goals happened many times. And it was because of my fucking ears.
The level of the torture that you experienced in this prison, like you said, you saw Gold Leaf do this to somebody else, right? Was this a norm, or were you like singled out?
Oh, it was a norm. I was singled out many times because I'm an American. And because they think I got money, and because they think I can't tell on them, because they didn't think I could speak the language, so they figure they can do whatever they want to me because I won't be able to communicate or tell anyone. But misery in that prison was very common. People were getting killed, starved. They were getting tortured. They're getting raped. They're getting beat. I mean, it's a huge city inside this prison. There's over 6,000 prisoners there, and it's a very, the prison's huge, but it's not built to be.
Right.
To house that many people.
Right.
And when there's that many people, there's not enough resources. There's corruption. There's deaths. There's constantly riots. There's fights. The misery. Like I would watch people get stabbed all the time. I got stabbed a couple times. I'd watch people they would become MacGyvers in there on how to create weapons and Molotov cocktails, and they would get cooking oil and heat it up and then throw it at each other and burn people's faces off. Man, I've seen everything. I've seen everything you can fucking do in that prison. You got to keep your head on the swivel, make sure no one's coming after you.
Head on the swivel.
Yeah. I I ducked so many haymakers that were missing or rakes that were getting. Yeah. No, my peripheral vision is spot on, man. It's you look at someone's hands, you see if they got anything sharp balled up in them. That's just second nature now.
How do you define like PTSD?
Yeah, I got it. I have to, because I beat the shit out of myself when I go to sleep. Sometimes I beat the shit out of myself. I sleepwalk. I destroy my room. When I go to new places, I destroy my room. It sucks. I have dogs that I sleep with, and they wake me up. And when it's tough. PTSD sucks because it's like going to sleep and playing Russian roulette sometimes. And I've woken up with black eyes.
Well, you've done that to yourself in your sleep?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah. I woke up with a cut on the top of my head, a black eye, 2 discs out in my neck. Looked like someone took a hammer to my thumb on my right hand, and it looked like I had a defensive position on my left because I had bruises all over me. But it was just me beating the shit out of myself in my sleep.
And you just wake up and there it is. Like, you don't know what the fuck happened, right? You don't remember anything, right?
When I went to New Mexico to go meet with Richardson, I felt bad for whoever was in the rooms next to me because I kept waking up, pounding on that connecting door between me and the next room. And then I go back to sleep like, God, I'm an idiot. And then I woke up with a horn being honked at me. I was down the street from my hotel in my underwear throwing snowballs at cars. It was nuts. I don't drink. I don't take Ambien. I don't do any drugs, but I'm fucking myself up in my sleep all the time. I mean, it doesn't happen all the time, but it happens enough that it's a problem.
How do you deal with that? I mean, do you just kind of like go back to sleep?
I put pillows all around me. If there's a post, I'll tie my ankle to the post so I don't walk away from the bed. That'll wake me up. But I've had soldiers contact me and ask me what I do. I've had a lot of people contact me and ask me about how to get through suicide, how to get through depression, how to get through the things I do. And I tell them, look, a sense of humor, man. Honestly, whenever I'm feeling really down, I go on YouTube or I go on Netflix and I watch a comedy show. I focus on the things that I love in my life, my dogs. I love poker. I love food. And I love traveling. I go to the gym. I work out. You do whatever you need to do to get through those bad moments. And I guarantee, like the way you feel today is not the way you're going to feel tomorrow. I know that much. I've had so many wonderful moments in my life since jail that I'm able to reflect back on knowing that good times will always follow the bad. And it's just,
right.
it's constantly just training your mind to, say, hey, this is just a moment.
You can't have a rainbow without the rain.
Yeah. And if it was all good, then you would never appreciate it because,
right.
You need the bad to appreciate the good. That's just the way it is. Otherwise, you take it for granted. Like, oh, I'm so rich. That's boring. You need the bad to appreciate the good.
Yeah. Do you have patience or tolerance for people that can claim like a level of PTSD that have been through nothing compared to what you've been through?
What can affect you might affect somebody else completely different.
Well, that's why I'm asking you. Yeah.
No, and so I don't keep hitting the table. I don't compare. I know I can handle things a lot better than most. I know the stuff that happens to me would have others on tears and suicide watch 24/7. But I'm glad that I'm built to handle all the bad things that come at me because that's the world. That's life. I've had people though who in the military send some awful stuff to me like you don't know what it's like because you weren't there, you weren't in the shit. And I'm like, I was right there in the mix of it and making toast and cookies with every one of them. So people handle things differently. I've also had people in the military contact me and say, hey, I'm their hero, and I'm like, I'm not a hero, but I appreciate those people. The world's full of haters. People are going to always try to compare themselves to others.
Man.
And if you do, I don't compare myself to anyone. I know that. And, if you're going through a bad thing, I remember I had this one, this is a while ago. I went on this date with this girl. It was a random date. I met this chick down at the LA Galaxy Stadium. And for some reason, she just felt like talking to me about what happened to her. And I didn't tell her anything about me. I don't, because I don't want to scare people away. They get scared if I start to tell them, oh, I'm
right.
a convicted drug smuggler and in jail, and I had to kill a few people. They don't like that.
Hey, I don't appreciate your judgment.
Yeah, but I listen to, but people sometimes talk and they just share, and I'm just a voice to listen. And this girl started sharing to me how she was arrested because she did something, like she wrote a fake check and she got arrested, and she felt awful about it because she was in jail for the weekend, and how it was the worst weekend of her life. And she's like, you don't know what it's like to go to jail because you're, and then her imagination started fucking with her in the prison, because everyone thinks what happens in prison is what happens in the TV shows and whatnot. And,
Right.
it's, if you go into jail with a bad attitude, yeah, people are going to take.
At the precinct in West Hollywood is not the same as Pakistan prison. There's a little slight variation there. Yeah.
Well, this woman though, she was started crying at the table, and I just listened to her. I wasn't trying to, like, oh, this girl's weird. She needed to get it out, and then she was so mad at me later when she found out about me. Like
Because she was embarrassed.
Yeah, well, but I told her, look. She's like, why didn't you say anything? I felt like an idiot, and I was like, because you needed to talk. That's why, and I didn't. And I was there to listen for you, and I hope it helped, and that was it.
Good for you, man. Yeah.
Well, that's how it is. It's some people can handle things differently than others, and hopefully the situation's different. Like, hopefully it's not like, oh, someone cut in front of me at McDonald's, it really hurt my feelings. Fuck off. No, I'm talking like, let's say this did not happen, but let's say I'm talking to somebody who else went to jail, and we both were raped in prison. Like, that didn't happen to me, so I'm fucking thankful for that. But had it happened to me, I'm pretty sure I would be handling it a lot different than somebody else. I'm pretty sure that somebody else would be like traumatized, as a complete mess, a drug addict.
Right.
That's how they would cope.
Right.
And I'd be like, hey, some bad shit happened to me, and you know what? I would handle it like, hey, when the rape's inevitable, you might as well enjoy it. That's how I would.
Text Antoine.
People handle things differently, and I try to find the positive in everything. I really do, even in the bad shit.
But you know what? This is why I like people like yourself. For those who can just be out front with it all, like, the truth, not 95% of the truth. Put it all out. Put it out there. This is who I am. That means that you have to be comfortable with who you are in this moment to be able to own everything, right? And you don't have to define yourself by any of that. If you're willing to be who you are, insecure in who you are, not who you're not the same person now as you were last week even. Right?
I agree with that. Yeah, I do. I agree with that. We're always changing. We're always evolving. And this is how I am. I'm trying to be better. I hope to be better. I try to leave this place a little bit better than I found it. My mouth, my mouth gets me in trouble in certain situations, but overall I can get along with anyone. On the way back from London, I sat down. There was a couple sitting to my right, an older couple, and there was a younger couple from Vancouver to my left. The older couple was from Louisiana. The couple to my left was from Vancouver, and I was telling jokes and sharing stories with all these people. And this woman to my right, she was laughing, and she was talking about how her husband had just died. That's why she had gone on this vacation. And here I was making this older woman laugh, and then here was this young couple who had just gotten married, and this little girl was complaining about how she had all these flight problems and how she hated Paris, and she was just so negative. And here was this woman to my right who lived life and had just lost her husband and was grieving, but she had such a big smile on her face. And this woman who's just starting life, going off on, and I was able to, I even pointed that, and I go, hey, look, you just got married, you're starting your life. She just lost her husband, and she's over here got a huge smile on her face. Just step outside of your shoes for a moment and realize, if you can listen to yourself from a third person's perspective, I think that you'll change the way you see things. Sometimes I have to do it all the time. Like when I'm in a bad mood, I go, Eric, fucking relax, man. It's okay. Just get through it. It's not the worst thing that's ever happened to you, and it's not that big a deal. Just get through it, and it works. Yeah.
But when the honesty's raw, I mean, like even the character in Tony Lip in Green Book, right? He was an endearing character. I mean, he was as non-conforming as you could be.
Yeah,
he didn't think twice about punching the shit out of anybody at any time. Racially, he said what he said. I mean, he was just, he was Tony Lip. That's who he was, right? But there's something really endearing about the honesty. He was true to who he was. He goes, this is who I am. I'm a guy who lived on the same block with his mother and father, his wife. Like that's who I know who I am. That was like a cool piece that he did there. I think there's something for that kind of guy. No?
No, I agree with you. I'd rather somebody who tells me straight up, what they think of me and whatnot, instead of smiling at me and then talking shit behind my back. That's the kind of guy you know you're going to get what you get. He's not trying to fuck you over. He's not trying to get close to you so he can do something bad to you. I'd rather a guy up front like that than a guy who's like, hey, how are you doing? Then go out.
That's so easy to find, man. Right?
Guys, man.
The game's changed. I don't know how else to say it. The game is just different. You know?
Yeah, well, that's part of life. We adjust. It's at the end of the day, we can adjust. You know, when you jump in a pool for a few seconds, it's freezing, but you swim around, and all of a sudden the water feels good.
Yeah.
When it's hot, and you can adjust to the situation. Yeah. You got a bunch of people at a party who are saying things you don't like. Well, you can go to another party, or you can start saying things that you don't like. Also, I'd rather go to another party.
Depends on the night.
Yeah, it depends on who's there. If we can turn it into a key party, you know?
Right. Listen, man, how can people get this documentary on you, 3 years in Pakistan? It is brilliant, man. It's really well done, and I like the fact that you're telling your story this time. That's great.
I appreciate you saying that. Well, the documentary, it's new, it's fresh. You can get it on a lot of different streaming platforms. You can get it on iTunes, Amazon, YouTube Red, Frontier, Vimeo, On Demand. It's about 30 different platforms. You type in 3 years in Pakistan, the Erik Aude story. Watch it. And it'll help you. It'll help you feel better about your life. It'll help you, maybe be a little calmer. By hopefully learning from my mistakes, it'll prevent you from ever having to go through what I went through, which is the ultimate goal. But it's also to help you just appreciate your life a little bit more. And if you guys watch it and you find me on Instagram at Erik Aude, ask me any questions, I'll answer it. And I hope that by watching what I went through, it'll prevent you guys from ever having to go through the same thing.
Yeah. Wow. Listen, man, I can't thank you enough for your time and your generosity here and your openness. It's great. It's an honor.
Thank you. Pleasure's all mine. Thanks for letting me just ramble off and get off topic and just be myself.
Dude, I could do this for about another 5 hours. You kidding me?
But stories all the time. It's great.
Yeah, I'm grateful for your time, and hopefully we'll do something again when you got your next project going.
Sure, man. I appreciate you reaching out, man. It means a lot.
Yeah. Thank you.
No problem.